Welcome y'all to another Skip Barber race here in iRacing. We're at Mid-Ohio again. This will be our third race of the week. So this will be our third race of the week due to some shenanigans that happened during the second race that I'll talk about a bit later. And you'll notice that this will not be during the race commentary because OBS decided to not record again. Almost certain I hit start recording, and then after the race when I looked over, it was not. So either it's getting a spurious mouse input or the more likely situation, which is PEPCAC, otherwise known as problem exists between keyboard and chair. So I probably messed up, even though I swear it didn't. I'm going to try something to make this somewhat more visually appealing, even though it's going to take a lot more render time, but that's fine. So we'll see how this gets. So I was able to qualify 7th, I think. '11th. And after doing some practice, I finally got into the 38s, even low 38s too, at default weather. And track temps currently are 116. And we are currently 3 wide. And then we eventually drop one person and get to 2 wide. We did not get a 1x for that, amazingly enough. But we were still hard racing with the person next to us. Who eventually goes, and we kind of let him go because first lap, there's still plenty of time. No point in being a sandwich. And yeah, there was a... This first lap as we go 2 wide again was what I would best describe as a bit of a furball. Just everyone doing their darndest to just fight brutally. We're doing our darndest just to keep going and not get taken out. And at this point, this is the first time we've not been side by side with someone so far. I think we lost maybe 1 or 2 places because we had those 2 people in front of us on like turn 3 kind of mess with each other. No, we lose a place overall after all that. It's not the worst of decisions. For qualifying, I didn't do that great. During qualifying, I didn't do that great. I screwed up my first flying lap. And then, or my first hot lap. And just did not set a time I was very happy with. Definitely better than it was yesterday at these temps. So our practice today definitely did pay off. Except we still don't quite have the pace I was looking for. And I really wish I had 3 monitors for VR right now. I would have been racing a bit harder there on the first lap. And in some of these other cases here, where someone was side by side and kind of backed out a little bit early. Especially after watching all these other people kind of going all over the place and rubbing. And last time I checked, open wheel racing is not... Rubbing is not racing here. Rubbing is bad. Especially in iRacing. One person gets screwed while the other person drives off. Which is what happened to us last race. We had a little bit of a dive bomb. And we had our front right wheel pushed in. And had to pit. Great race up until that point though. So are we going to be able to make this stick? We kind of got it in there. We have the ideal line here. Weren't able to quite make it stick yet. We're not in a bad position. I think we were pulling ahead just ever so slightly or staying even with them. I don't remember. But just don't. And, well. Good thing is we didn't hit the wall. The next person to us is 30 seconds back. Which is good because we don't have to wait to re-enter. And we only lost like 3 seconds for our lap time. That was a very ideal place to screw up if we were going to make a mistake like that, apparently. Since we didn't go into the wall, first off, and most importantly. And secondly, because everybody's pretty slow right there, so we... not out of the race yet. But we have our work cut out for us. We have a lot of time to make up here. As we drop back to 13th or stay in 13th? We stay in 13th. Fortunately, it's still early, so we still have time to make up time. We just need to focus and put in some laps, because I'm sure I'm at least faster than one or two of the people in front of us. And the third furthest, the person 3 places in front of us starts pulling away at this point. The other 2 we start gaining on slowly. The thing that irritates me the most right now, though, is we could have actually had a decent race and been up there with the 3 of them duking it out. But we're still driving, and we're not having to make a pit that would have killed our race, so it's still better than it could have been. And amazingly in this race, outside of the kind of rubbing people were doing early on and the 2 people that kind of got hooked up and pushed out at turn 4? 4 or 5, something like that. It's a pretty clean race. I didn't see any kind of car totaling kind of damage in any of the contacts from at least cars. I know at least one person may have hit a wall that kind of finished him off. We're slowly making ground on the person in front of us. Just got to keep focus and not push too hard. Our goal was to actually see if we can get into the 38s. I know we can do it. Even though our optimals at this point are still like mid-39s, I know there's still a lot of time left on the table. And it's only 5 degrees warmer than default. That shouldn't equal more than a second. And hello. So we caught up to him. Now can we find a safe place to get past him and make it stick? And I wasn't really looking to try to pass here because I was going to wait until the straight and just get him on the draft, make it nice and easy. However, the opportunity arose, so I'm not one to look a gift horse in the mouth. And we safely got past him. Make a good turn. Alright. Okay, so now we just need to try to get away and break the draft so we can make this really, really stick and not have to fight him too much for it. So we still have a chance to make it to the guy in front of us. And that lap time wasn't too great. Trying to get a pass done though, so it wasn't too terrible. And this turn right here has just been my undoing this week, apparently. which is odd because normally it's one further down. I'll point it out when we get there. I just am having a lot of trouble finding consistency on it. I at least have figured out doing the late apex helps a lot, going through there quickly and getting a good exit. The trouble, though, is trying to turn in the right amount. I usually end up turning in too quickly. Definitely making that turn a lot better. I'm probably not being as aggressive as I could be there. And it's this section right here. This turn in particular, I have gotten better at this week. Still not as consistent as I'd like, but we have gotten it a lot better. And we put a good second on the person behind us by now, so not too much to worry about. Or much less to worry about, at least. And I know it's probably not a great idea to rail grind there. It seems to work out for me, though. I know pretty much in no other car do you want to do that. With the soft, fluffy, cloud-like suspension of the Skip cars, you can get away with it. However, like most things with this car, getting away with it and going faster is not always the same thing. So just about to the halfway point. Set a 39.5, which was our best lap up until this point, which, not great. Still want that 38. And if we don't start setting 38s, or at least getting much better, or getting close to it, we're going to have a hard time catching the guy in front of us. We are slowly making ground on. I think roughly maybe half a second a lap-ish. And he's about 4 to 5 seconds ahead of us right now. I mean, if only I'd recorded this so I didn't have to tell you exactly how it all was right at this point. It'd be really nice if iRacing actually let you play that stuff back. I'm not sure if the server browser I'm using that does the overlays actually can see that information. iSpeed definitely gets like all the information and telemetry from it right now during the replay. So I don't know what's up with that in the other one. Probably because it's more intended for streamers, there's really not a lot of point to looking at the replay for it. We're making up most of our ground, I believe. Doing decently through here. Making up some ground on them. But most of it is through this part. I almost do that well, and almost too well, right off the track. Still just trying to find that sweet spot of speed there. Like I was trying to say in yesterday's race, I seem to either go too slow and get great exit speed, or I go through there quickly and then have terrible exit speed. A couple times in practice I hit it really well. Not going to say it was perfect. However, it was good for me. I can see him. I can see the whites of his eyes. So we need to be careful and not try to push too hard now, because we're getting close. And probably getting to the point where we're going to start pressuring him a bit, because he sees that we're catching him. Well, doing turns like that's not going to help. But you'll also notice we got a 39.049. I think our optimals for that were like 138.75. So, I mean, something we 38s are very doable by us right here, right now. We just got to keep our focus. Not do silly things like over pushing, which I know during practice killed us a lot. This is not a track pushing helps a lot. You just overdo it a little too much, you lose all your traction and all your speed. Because it takes forever to get the traction back. And that last turn has been a nightmare for me today too. We're still just not quite there. We're almost to where we can draft off of him, just not quite. And since we've started getting close, he started turning on the turbos. And so we aren't quite gaining on him as quickly as we were before. Which is something that is just hilarious to me about racing. As soon as you start pressuring people, some people just fold. Other people find speed that they've never found before, when they're not even trying to. And I'm almost wondering if that's more of a side effect of actually having all this extra data around you, like the relative screen box that tells you just how far you are from them. And again, amazingly, I didn't get an off track for that. The only incident we've had so far was when we dropped a tire and went off the track there and turned 4. And so right now, we're not really gaining on them too much in the rest track, except for that last section there. Those last 2 turns we're gaining on them a lot. Still just not quite in draft range. Real close, though. We can get a good exit here. We can probably catch him a bit. We get on the gas too late, so that doesn't happen. We don't lose time to him, though. Slowly working on him. We have 5 laps, so we still have some time, especially considering we're within a second and a half now. And gaining. And the next person is way off in the distance, so not even a possibility of catching. So this is our only goal right now. As we proceed to screw up turn after turn, but don't really give up too much time, fortunately. And if you're looking at the lap times, that's probably why we aren't gaining on them as quickly as we were. In this lap, we should actually be either inside of draft distance or just outside of it. So if we do really well here, we might be able to actually get in distance to be able to pass him here at the next turn, after the next turn. We get a not terrible exit out of there, just not great. But we do have the draft. Sure where he was going there. Now we have to think, are we going to do it? No. I actually broke there to make sure I didn't try it, because while I was close, that would have just been it would have had to have been a dive bomb to pull it off, and yeah, no. We don't want to do that. Especially because we still have 3.5 laps left, so there is time and we need to be patient. Especially since we're in the draft now, so we can just wait a lap or two and get him on the straight. Especially because we can tuck in a little bit closer through here. See, he had a little bump. I think it's on that exit of that turn right there where we're really getting him. Except we don't really gain on him right here too much. We are now that we have the draft, but before we had the draft we really weren't gaining on him that much. So we're going to get close and then we're going to wait. We're not going to try to overtake him in this turn. Because we saw that it can be pretty difficult. Especially because if you try to pass on the inside there, you get a crappy exit out of the turn, and then they can just go flying past you because they take the outside. And he's going to hug the left side, which is smart on his part. Except we're going to get past him far enough that we probably could have gone over to the left side there. I just didn't think it was smart. And we have secured it by now. So we're trying to use as much of the track as we can. So he still has the draft at this point. So we need to do everything we can to try to break it. And by that I mean we just need to have some good clean laps that we can pull some distance on him with. And again, we'll use this series of turns, which we seem to do better at, to do some of that. He's still within draft range, so he's still being pulled along. And we fortunately get good enough exits through here that he doesn't gain on us, even with the draft though. We don't really pull any distance, but he's not actually able to get set up for a pass. And I was also very paranoid about a dive bomb that did not happen. So thanks to him for that. He was close to being able to make something happen, but just not quite there. That guy was lap traffic, and he did a really good job of finding a nice place to just kind of get out of the way. And doing it in a way that didn't affect us. And I did thank him for that on the radio. Again, trying to help through here. We can pull some more distance. Because we need to get far enough ahead that he can't use the draft against us. So as long as we do this reasonably and not screw it up, we should still be far enough ahead that while he'll have the draft, he won't be able to use it against us yet. And again, we kind of get in that position where we're far enough ahead, or we get a good enough exit that he can't actually gain on us. So one more turn and we should be good. So just do this turn well, don't screw it up. Not the best I've done it, but we did it well enough that we are actually slightly ever so pulling ahead of them. Slightly ever so. How about ever so slightly? The correct order of those words. So now we just have to not make a mistake. We don't have to go the fastest we've ever gone. We just need to make sure that we don't screw up and set a reasonable lap. As long as we can do that, we can stay ahead of them. It's not like there's really any place you can easily pass through here unless you're just going a lot faster than they are. Alright, last 2 turns. Just do this one well and we got it. Alright. Not the best race I've had, but I will take that one. Today has just kind of been one of those days. They happen. Oh well, move on. How did we do? 45. That sucks. Looking at our fastest lap, we never found our pace, so I mean, we ended kind of where we did. And looking at it, I mean, we still beat the 2 people we beat had better fastest laps than we did. How the heck? Kind of disappointed by that. I really thought I had a better pace than apparently I do here. We lost 2, count them, 2 iRating. Last race we lost 1 iRating, which is hilarious. Gained a decent bit of safety rating. Hopefully tomorrow, after some more practice, I'll actually be able to find some more pace and actually do a little bit better. If I can get about half a second, I think I'd be much more competitive about where I would normally expect to be able to be. It is what it is. I wouldn't have backed out so much earlier on if I actually had like VR triple screen so I could have actually seen people. I just didn't see the point of trying to fight them as hard as we were fighting there because it was not going to end in happiness. It was fun while it lasted though. I mean, what was that? Almost the entire first lap? So it was still good fun. With that, if you liked, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike. If you have any questions, suggestions, feedback, or advice, drop it in the box below. Good luck in your races, and y'all take it easy.